Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 30 of Petey's Awesome Guest Panel. Man, can't believe I reached 30. That's pretty much how old I am right now. My guest this time is not only a Power Ranger legend, but a gentleman that I had the honor and privilege of meeting last January at PowCon. He is the lead role in Power Rangers in Space, and quite frankly, I grew up, being a huge fan of this guy since I was an 8-year-old lad, and now, as I said before, I'm 30. My guest this time is Mr. Christopher Andros Khayman Lee. How are you today, Chris?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, it's awesome to see you again. I'm doing good. Now, before I dive into the questions, though, let me just say that I want to thank you again last January at PowCon for the autograph. And to this day, it's one of my favorites,
You're very, very welcome.
Awesome. Now, my first question is how did you get into acting?
I got into acting when I was a younger kid. I grew up in Virginia, but when I turned, I think maybe 16 or 17, I moved down to Miami, and I actually started with modeling first, like print modeling and stuff like that. And one day I just decided, you know what? Hey, what the hell? Let's see if I can act too. I don't know. It was not something that I had studied as a kid or anything like that. I just got up one day and said, well, what the hell? See if I can talk in front of a camera. And I did.
Very cool. And before we get into the Power Ranger related questions, because I'm going to be so excited to talk about that, because I've been a fan of your work since I was 8. In fact, you inspired me to actually grow out my hair because I was such a big fan of Andros. I was like, man, this guy has some great freaking hair when I was a kid. While I was eating my Lunchables and drinking my raspberry Kool-Aid at the time. My question is your memories of working on that 70s show.
Yeah, that 70s show, huh? That was a very interesting one. But the character that I went out for was his name was Guy with Long Hair. That was it. And it was a very fun shoot. I got to meet Wilmer because I did the scene with him, and he is just an all-around fantastic guy. He was such a sweetheart to me. Treated me like I was like the biggest star in the show or something like that, and I don't even think I had dialogue. But yeah, he was fantastic with me. So it was a very fun a fun show.
Very cool. And memories of working, because you were not just a Power Ranger legend, but you were also a 90s legend too to many 90s kids, including myself. And where I'm getting to this is that what were your memories on one of the most 90s shows you could think of, Seventh Heaven?
Yeah, Seventh Heaven, that was pretty fun. Seventh Heaven, again, the character they played, I don't even remember. I think I had maybe a paragraph of dialogue, maybe, if that. But the really great thing about Seventh Heaven was the fact that it opened up the door for me to meet the all the producers and whatnot, and that eventually led to me to getting Safe Harbor. And Safe Harbor was the sister show to Seventh Heaven. So yeah, that's actually what helped get me in the door for that.
So cool. And now for Power Rangers, for In Space, you were the lead role. You were Andros. And let me just say some statistics about Andros is that he's the first Power Ranger not to be from Earth. He is from planet KO-35, and he is also the very last Red Ranger of the Zordon series, of the Zordon era. My question is for you is, what was the audition for In Space like? Take me there.
The audition for In Space was, I'm pretty sure mine was very different from a lot of other people's auditions for Power Rangers, whatever season. Power Rangers in America, it aired in 1993. At that point in time, I was 15. And when I was 15 years old, I had very, very long hair. Very long hair that I would always wear in a ponytail. And every kid in my neighborhood came up to me because I had long hair and a ponytail, and every one of them said the same damn thing to me. You have hair like Tommy. You look just like Tommy. You must really love Tommy because you have your hair just like Tommy. And I had no idea who the hell they were talking about. I had never watched the show. I knew nothing about it. All I knew was that I already hated Tommy, whoever the hell he was, and I didn't know who it was. And then, you know, you go forward a couple of years, and when I did start acting, my manager hit me up one day, and she was like, yeah, so I got an audition for you. And I was like, cool, what is it? And she said, well, you're going to audition for the next season of Power Rangers. And I immediately told her, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. No, no, thank you. This was all still in my head, all this damn Tommy nonsense. That was all in my head. So yeah, she was like, you know, it was a nationwide casting. They were going all over the country, looking for who's the next red guy going to be, whatever. And yeah, she basically told me, you know, just go out for it, even if you don't get it, you know, whatever. You get to meet the producers or whatever, and you know that's good. You know, you get your foot in the door. And I was like, whatever, fine. And yeah, when I auditioned for it, I was actually auditioning. I auditioned directly for Shuki Levy. Shuki was the number 2 guy at Saban Studios. It's Chaim Saban, and then it was Shuki. And yeah, I was auditioning for him, and I so did not want to be there. I absolutely hated every moment of it. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I just had this attitude like, you guys are just wasting my time. I just want to get the hell out of here, drive back home, whatever. Enough. That's what got me the role. That's what got me the role, because the character, they said later on, they're like, yeah, the character is supposed to be kind of like an asshole. And that's exactly what I was. So yeah, that got me the role.
I love your style, Chris. I do want to say that before I say my next question, though, and because I got fans from, you know, because you have a huge fan base. I mean, you're loved by many fans. I mean, you're a heartthrob to many female friends, and still are to this day. I can't believe how many fans I hear that say, "Oh, like he's such a heartthrob." I hear from the women fans. I do want to say that I'm paying tribute tonight to you. I'm wearing red tonight to show my support, because I know Andros was color red, so I wanted to pay homage to you, sir.
And it looks good on you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. The Neon Light Cast from Instagram writes, and I quote, "In Space is pretty much regarded as the season that saved Power Rangers. Did you get the feeling during production that you had something special on your hands, or did everyone believe that this was going to be the last season of the series?"
Yeah, that's actually what it was. Is that right when we, like, pretty much right when we started filming, one of the producers came up to us and told us that, yeah, this is going to be the last season of Power Rangers. There won't be any more after this. And we were like, wow, damn, that's crazy. We started filming, but then when the show aired, like, I don't know, maybe just like a couple of months after the show actually was on air, the ratings were so through the roof for it that that the same producer, I remember, he came back and he told us, well, now we're no longer going to cancel the show. We're going to keep the show going, but we're going to do what they do in the Japanese show and bring in a whole new cast. And there you go.
I see. And now there were many episodes of In Space, though. One of my favorite episodes, I mean, this is going to be a two-part question, but one of my favorite episodes is Countdown to Destruction. I want to know what your favorite episode was personally of In Space that you did as a whole.
Oh, man. You know what? I had a fun time with almost every episode that we did, minus dealing with the hair. That was my biggest problem. I loved oh God, what was the name of it? I think there was there's an episode called Flashes of Darkonda. I think that's what one of them was called. And if I'm remembering it correctly, that was probably my favorite one. It was in like a the setting, or at least part of the setting, was that it was in a like an Old West cantina, and there's all these aliens around, and Darkonda is there, and the Red Ranger is playing poker, or whatever space equivalent to poker is, and yeah, it just, as a young kid, it reminded me so much of the cantina in Mos Eisley in Star Wars: A New Hope, that I just loved it. I just loved the whole setting and all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, this is really cool. We're doing a Star Wars thing. So yeah.
Very cool, man. But what about your memories of doing the very last two-part episode, Countdown to Destruction?
Yeah, that was a funny episode, because the whole season, really was, let's see how much we can steal from Star Wars and get away with. And then with Countdown to Destruction, that really turned out to be more along the lines of, let's see how much we can steal from Spartacus and Independence Day and get away with. And that's what we did. It was a very cool episode. I really loved the whole I am Spartacus ending. I wasn't there for that part. That was actually everybody else but me. I was too busy out stabbing Zordon in the face. So
now, I do want to get your opinion on this, and because this is asked by many friends that I know, though. Your memories of doing the episode Shell Shock, which was the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers crossover. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
On
that was an episode. All right. Well, they okay. So Saban had both shows. They had Power Rangers in space going, and then at the same time, the Ninja Turtle show. I can't remember the name of it.
Was it Next Mutation?
The Next Mutation. Thank you. Yes. So Saban had both the shows going at the same time. The ratings for in space were through the roof, but the Ninja Turtle show at that time was really struggling. So they decided, well, since maybe we can use one to piggyback on the other or whatever. So yeah, they I remember when they told us they got all 5 of us together and they were like, we're gonna do an episode and it's gonna have the Ninja Turtles in it. And I remember thinking to myself, wait, they're a part of Power Rangers now? When the hell did this happen? I grew up with Ninja Turtles. I don't remember them ever mentioning Power Rangers before. This is a whole new one for me. So yeah, that was interesting. But the guys that were wearing the turtle suits, those were our stuntmen. So it was our own stunt team. Our stunt team on Power Rangers, they were called Alpha Stunts. They were literally the greatest stunt team on the planet. They were so good that Jackie Chan's men wanted to be a part of Alpha Stunts. That's how good they were. So yeah, it was just them, just as Ninja Turtles, and me beating them up.
And you did kick ass. I will say that. It's one of, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge fan of yours, because it's the truth. The Racing Genius on Instagram writes, what was your reaction to Melody Perkin becoming a Power Ranger herself a year later, as she was the main antagonist for In Space?
That was very interesting to me. There was actually I remember when they were first going over that, there was actually a choice. They were trying to figure out if they were either going to have Melody do it or if they were going to have Patty do it. And the first thing that they were thinking about was actually making Melody the first Purple Ranger. But they ended up not doing that, because then that would have totally screwed over all the footage that they were getting for the Sentai series. So they're like, well, never mind, we'll just keep her as Pink. But yeah, I remember that there was a point in time where they were like really kind of tossing it up in the air whether or not it was going to be Melody or Patty, and yeah, they just decided with Melody. So yeah, that was interesting.
I see. And the Sophia Wild from Instagram writes, memories of working with Melody Perkins on In Space.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I really didn't work with her that much. There was really maybe 2 episodes that I actually worked with Melody on. And actually it was very funny because even the episodes that we were together, it was so infrequently that when I actually was doing that scene, when we were doing the season finale and I had to hold Melody, it was very weird because I basically did not know her, and I'm holding her up, I'm picking her up. They made me do that damn thing where I cry and the tear drops on her face and then she comes back to life in the moment. The whole time they were doing that, I was sitting there saying, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this. This is such a dumb thing. Don't make me do this. But yeah, Melody is basically the exact opposite of Astronema. Melody is very, very sweet. very shy, not loud in any way whatsoever, not boisterous or anything like that. You would hardly even know she was there. She's so quiet and shy. So she's a wonderful, wonderful woman, though. I love her.
Awesome. And the Racing Genius Instagram also writes, were you surprised that Andros would have a huge fan favorite following a year later?
Um, the only thing that ever actually surprised me was the fact that when the air, I was living at the time near Valencia, which in that part of California is actually where the studio was. It was I was very close to the studio, and it was kind of like there really wasn't a lot of people living out there at the time, and there was certainly nobody else out there with multicolored hair. So I remember that I would go out, and I actually got recognized by people quite a bit. And they would, like people my own age too, 19, 20-year-old. And they would actually say to me, oh my God, aren't you that guy, from Power Rangers? And I'm looking at them and they're my age. And I'm like, aren't you too old to be watching Power Rangers? What the hell are you talking about? I don't know.
John from Instagram writes, what lessons did your experience working on Power Rangers in space leave you? What were your lessons that left you working on Power Rangers in space? That was his question.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a very interesting question. I really wouldn't have thought of that. I don't know. I worked out with the stuntmen so much that I got so used to being around them and working out with them, and they like became family to me. I don't know. Lessons to okay, here's one. Don't bleach your hair. Ever. Never do that. Never bleach your hair. It is terrible for your hair, and if you're like me, you might have a bad reaction to it, and it's extremely painful. So that's a good life lesson. Don't bleach your hair.
I love that one. That's such a great one. Lionheart Aubrey from Instagram writes, do you think that In Space deserved its own movie?
Hell yeah. Yeah. It totally should have had its own movie. I mean, it basically did. It was called Star Wars. That came out in 1977. So, yeah.
And let me just say, before I give my next question, though, I want to say, Chris, that you'd be proud of me on this one, that I would go to Blockbuster Video, because that's what we used to do back in the day as kids. We used to rent stuff, and you'd be proud that one of the tapes I would rent from Blockbuster was Power Rangers in Space. I remember because it had the Countdown to Destructions, part 1 and 2, and it had Astronomer Think Twice on it.
Ah, hell yeah, man. I do appreciate that.
I gotta show my support. Next question is from Lost Galaxy from Instagram. What was the most memorable gift fans gave to you?
Oh man, I have had quite a few. I've had people draw pictures for me. I've had people give me all kinds of toys and stuff. Oh God, you know what? I'll show you.
Awesome.
I'll show you something that I got from somebody once. This is something that somebody gave me. They first gave Justin one, Nemo. He was a Silver Ranger. And then I saw it and I was like, well, hell, I want one. So this is a red paddle that you basically use just to spank people with. And it's Power Rangers in Space. There's Andros. And yeah, it's just red. But Nemo and I both have one of these, and we both smack each other on the asses all the time with these whenever we see each other. So, yeah.
Speaking of Justin, I can't wait because I'm interviewing him tomorrow, so it's really cool that I'm interviewing you tonight. I'm interviewing Justin tomorrow, which is going to be very cool.
Yeah.
John wants to know, and this is not a in space question, but before I go back to Power Rangers, he wants to know what do you think about your character's fate in the Dragon New Dawn comic?
I don't know. I don't really know. I honestly haven't read it, so I have no idea.
Uh, Sophia Wild wants to know, would you ever return to an anniversary episode of Power Rangers in regards to any series alongside Melody Perkins to fight as Rangers?
That is that's a production team question. That's not a me question. That's totally up to them. But the only thing that I would say, like the only stipulation that I would have would be you guys are not going to bleach my hair ever again. So don't even think about it. No.
And no Ninja Turtles, right?
No Ninja Turtles, no bleaching the hair. That's it.
Those are fair points. I can agree to that. Now, this is my one of my final questions for In Space for Now, but I do want to get your, because I love the trilogy, because Dragon Ball Z had the Cell Saga, they had the Frieza Saga, Power Rangers in Space had the Psycho Rangers Saga, and I wanted to get your memories of working with the people behind the Psycho Rangers, including Patrick David.
I never met him. Not once. I never met him. Patrick has told me many times that he was only on set, I think, for one day or something like that, because he was the voice, sure, but like they never really showed his face, not until like that one episode, I think. I remember him saying that we were at lunch and he saw me at the lunch table, but he never came over. He said he was too nervous to come over and say hi or anything. And I was like, I don't know why. Why would you be nervous? Just come over and say hi. But Patrick is fantastic. I never met him until we actually started doing conventions, though. That was it. So.
I could totally relate to Patrick, though, because I was afraid to approach you because I was so starstruck to meet you, because this is the same. I mean, you're the same guy that I was, like as far as acting, like I idolized, though, like since I was 8 years old. So I was totally starstruck when I saw you for the first time in January.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
No problem. And this is I'm gonna ask this one. Memories of working, because you came back as Andros in the Lost Galaxy to the 10th Power episode, where it was the Lost Galaxy and In Space Rangers teaming up against the Psycho Rangers. Once again, Andros is back fighting Psycho Rangers. Memories of working on Lost Galaxy and memories of working on the main villain of Lost Galaxies, Amy Chiquina Rome.
Oh my gosh. Amy is a beautiful, beautiful woman. I love Amy. Amy is actually very funny because she's a lot like Melody. Neither one of them are anything like their bad guys counterparts, the characters that they're playing. They're so wonderful and sweet. Amy is so beautiful, so nice, so wonderful. And the fact that they got her to play a bad guy to me is just like mind-blowing. I actually, because I would hang out, I hang out the set even after we finished filming. I got to know all those guys for Lost Galaxy a lot better than I think the rest of the my cast did, because I was there seeing them every day. I was working out with the stuntmen constantly, and yeah, I was getting to meet them to the point where I actually would go out and we would I would go out with Danny Slavin, and we would go and sing karaoke and get very, very drunk, and I would sing very horribly, and and that bastard is a very good singer too, and it really pissed me off.
Let me just say this too, because I loved your appearance on Lost Galaxy, and you mentioned Amy before. Much like you, I'm very a close friend with Amy Roll. That's why when I met you at PowCon, I wanted to make sure that, because she told me to tell you to say hello. That's why remember when I showed you the text message saying that she wanted to say hello to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's a very cool person, very awesome person.
Wonderful.
I'm very proud and honored to call you my friend. I'm very proud and honored to call Amy my friend, because both you and her. I mean, I grew up. Here's the funny part. When growing up, I grew up like idolizing you, and I grew up fearing her because, as a 9-year-old watching Lost Galaxy, she was, I think, the first female villain the first villain, pardon me, that actually struck fear into this 9-year-old me. But she's awesome though. In short, just an awesome person.
Yes.
This question is from Lionheart Aubrey. Actually, this is a 2-part question from Jerry and Lionheart Aubrey from Instagram. And this is fast forward here to Wild Force. What were you doing prior to Forever Red?
What was I doing prior to it? I was actually working on a film with some friends of mine. I was doing, like, I wasn't really doing the acting part of it. I was actually behind the camera, doing probably 9 different jobs on a film. And that was a film called Miles from Home. And it was a great little film. And Ty Hodges, he was the main character, Miles. And I was just working my butt off, going crazy, doing that stuff. And then I get the call. I actually got the call for Forever Red. I knew about it before I actually got the call from Iris, who was the casting director, because not Miles from Home, Forever Red, Forever Red was actually written by one of my best friends, Amit Bamik. He wrote the episode, and he got in touch with me, and he said, yo, I just wrote an episode. They're going to do it. It's like basically all the Red guys from the past. And the thing that I'm really trying to make it out to be is that, like, it all happens because of your character. So you're like the most important part. And I was like, damn, I'll take it. That's awesome. And then we did it. And then we found out that, yes, there's horses on the moon. And I don't know why. There's horses on the moon.
Memories of, because you finally got, I mean, you met Jason David Frank and Austin St. John on the set too. Like, what was it like working with those gentlemen?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was like the first time that I was meeting almost all those guys. Obviously, like, I knew Selwyn, of course, and I knew Sean Johnson. He was on Lightspeed. But yeah, like everybody else, I was meeting them all for the first time. I still had it in my head, screw Tommy, because of that hair stuff when I was growing up as a kid. But Jason's a really fun guy. He's a very nice guy, big heart, very sweet guy, and the same with Austin. Austin's very funny. He has this presence that it's very like almost intimidating, but then he talks to you and he's just a big goofball. So yeah, it was really wonderful.
Very cool. And did you also tell Jason David Frank about the hair when people said, "Oh, Tom"?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes. I told him all about that. I said, dude, I grew up hating you, and I had no idea who the hell you were. So
probably he laughed at that one, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he thought it was funny.
Lionheart Aubrey also writes, "Do you think another Forever Red should happen?"
Why not? I don't know. I mean, at this point, there'll be like 40 of us or something like that. So that's a lot of people. But yeah, why not?
Very cool. And do you still keep in touch with the new series?
I really haven't watched Power Rangers in a long while, so I don't really know that much about what's going on. Afraid not.
Okay. And memories of working with the I'm trying to remember what the names were. I think one of them was the actors that played Bulk and Skull, Jason Narvi. And,
Paul and Narvi.
Paul Narvi, yeah.
Yeah, Paulie and Narvi. You know what? God, it's so funny. I really didn't meet them that much. We of course knew who each other was because they were in basically every episode, but they were always doing their own thing. They always had like their own side story going on. Them and then the professor. And yeah, they're always doing their own thing. So like, I really never met them until I started doing conventions. It's so weird because that's actually was with David, with Patrick David, with Melody, Paulie and Narvi, and Dave Fielding. I really never met them.
Oh man. Now what about and this is the next question I had too. Memories of working like with, because I think they tease like a storyline, or I could be wrong here, but they tease a storyline between the characters of Andros and Ashley. Did you think there was like they were like it was leading, because like I think they hinted that Ashley liked Andros and vice versa. Did you get that vibe too, like from that from the
that, yeah, that was the we actually filmed an episode where Andros and Ashley kissed, and Yeah, it was like a big date episode or something like that. But I think they ended up taking out the kiss part. I can't remember. I don't remember if that actually aired. But yeah, they were very much heavily like implying that Andros and Ashley are they're an item or something like that. So yeah.
I see. And I definitely got to ask this question too, because as an 8-year-old, pardon me, an 8-year-old watching in space, like you always went down the tubes to go like down to Earth and morph. What were those tubes actually like? Where did those tubes actually go to?
They went nowhere. The tubes were 4 feet long, and they were just like there was the wall, and then you slide down, and then it's nothing. It's just the floor. That was it.
That's it?
So yeah, that was it. That's
Wow.
movie magic.
Oh, that's so cool. And now this is what I wanted to ask too, like the SFX part of Power Rangers in Space. How did they do the scenes from like 1 minute you're in your non-Ranger form, and then the next scene they got you into your Ranger form?
That's all just green screen, and I don't know. Just that's it. Just green screen. That's I don't know. I don't know.
And was In Space filmed in California?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the main set that was in Valencia, and then there was a few times where we shot like when we did Countdown to Destruction, we shot that in downtown LA. The first episode I think where I did the Battleizer thing, that was in Long Beach, and there was one episode that we did like out in the desert, and we were actually in Death Valley for that. And it was like 135 degrees.
Oh wow. And,
yeah, that was fun.
Now you'll be proud of me on this one too, Chris. Is that as a kid though, I was so invested with In Space though that as a kid I used to have the morpher with the one where you go 335. Had that.
Yeah.
I had, and also which was really cool. My parents got it for me like as a Christmas present. I had like the replica, not replicas, but there was the toy versions of all the weapons. You know, your weapon, and then it was Ashley, sorry, Tracy, Selwyn, Patricia's. Like it was so cool. It was like a whole set, and it had every Ranger's symbol weapon.
Yeah, cool. The Spiral Saber.
The Spiral Saber, which I think is one of the best though, like one of the best weapons I've ever seen in Power Rangers. And you mentioned before, like we talked about episodes, Chris. Well, did you have a least favorite episode?
Yeah, I did. I don't really remember the name of the episode though, but I remember why it was my least favorite, and that was the episode that had the little tiny alien in it called Seymour, and
I know what you're talking about. And then he trapped him in his stomach, right?
Something like that. Yes, it was just. I don't know. It was just a really dumb episode to me. It was so stupid. And even the fact that like, I mean, it's not her fault, but what Tracy said when she was gonna name him, she was like, "I know, we'll call him Seymour because he wants to go out and see more of the galaxy or something like that." And inside, I died a little. It was like, please don't do this. No.
I really liked, and I'll talk with it whenever I get the interview with Tracy though. But I really liked the episode that you portrayed in the episode, the old, I think it was the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like parody, where like Melody and Tracy switched bodies, personalities.
Yeah, I was actually very impressed with both of them because they had each other's mannerisms down so well. Yeah, they both did a phenomenal job with that. So kudos to both of them.
Absolutely. And how did they get two astronomers in the same scene though when you guys were battling, but like the fake astronomer?
Sorry, what?
Oh, well, how did they get the two astronomers in the same scene though in that episode where you had Ashley as astronomer and then you had the actual astronomer?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know special effects magic myself, so I'm sure it was green screen somehow. So.
Now, before we conclude this interview, Chris, let me just say that it's not only a true honor to interview, like do this interview, and thank you so much. But growing up as a huge fan of yours, you know, and when I met you at PowCon last January, it was so awesome because it was like I waited 20-something odd years to meet any kind of Power Rangers, and meeting you, like someone I idolized since I was 8, was just, you know, the topping on the cake.
Wow. I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much.
No problem. And before we conclude, though, because this is an open forum, you can say anything you want. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd love it if everybody that sees this, you want to come over and check out my my live streaming. I do that Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on Twitch. Just look for Chris Khayman Lee, and also look for me on Instagram. That one would be Christopher Khayman Lee. And yeah, those are my two main things my two main social networking places. So yeah.
Awesome. And as a fan, a longtime fan, I'd be the first one to be starting the chant. Thank you, Andros. Thank you, Chris. I'd be the first.
Oh my God.
To get that. But again, thank you for not only this interview, but thank you for the memories you gave this guy as an 8-year-old, as an 8-year-old watching in space. You are, like I said before in the introduction, you are a 90s legend, a Fox Kids legend, and a Power Ranger legend.
Wow. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, sir. And you have an awesome night, my friend.
You too, brother.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.